Hello everyone. So as you can probably tell from the title of this video is about Lidia and how linear she is and why I think that's wrong, and I'm going to give you some reasons. I don't think it's necessarily a wrong statement, but with Lidia you have to think of her in a different way when you're dealing with people who are sidestepping. And on top of that, if you're trying to sidestep her, you have to sidestep against her in a very different way than most Tekken characters, because with most Tekken characters in the game, you have one direction that you sidestep them, and that sidesteps all of the moves except for like one or two, or maybe if they're in stands, so maybe if that's certain ranges. So Noctis, for example, you sidestep him left. If he does his down back 1+2, you sidestep him right. So most of the time you can just sidestep and block, and that's going to avoid most of his options, right? Character like Alisa, character I play, one of my mains, she's very vulnerable to sidestep right if you're up close. The only thing that'll track to the left besides her homing moves is down forward 3. But if she's in one of her stances, or she's out about here and she's going to do like while running 2 or while running 3-4, you want to sidewalk left. That's how most characters in Tekken work. It's very simple. You most of the time sidestep them one way, except in very specific situations or against very specific moves. Lili doesn't work like that. I want to tell you why she doesn't work like that. And I'm going to first show you these moves that track to either direction. It's very important. I'm going to start with what tracks to her right, and you're going to think that this is irrelevant because she's weak to sidestep left, but you'll understand why this is important in a minute. And I'm not going to show you everything here because I want to keep this short and concise to give you an idea on how this stuff works. I could go on for a while. I'm not going to try my best not to. So, moves that track to her right. Down back 2 and up back 1+2 and down 3, I should get out of the way, are pretty much homing moves. They may as well be. Other moves that track specifically to the right are her down forward 1, her down forward 3, her down forward 3+4 armor move from crouch down forward 3. Sidestep 2 tracks to sidestep right, but not sidewalk right. But the really important ones is that her hell sweep tracks to sidestep right, and sidestep 4 tracks to sidestep right. Okay? So that's going to be really important in a second. Most people say that she's weak to sidestep left. So let me talk about some of her moves that are weak to sidestep left. Some of these moves include her looking through the list, down back 4, which I believe is not seeable. I've tested it. I don't think you can react to it. If you can, then of course you can disregard this, but I've tested this pretty extensively, not to a point of consistency, but just if I can react to it at all, and I can't, and I can react to this pretty reliably. So I think that's a good option for tracking the sidestep left. Her 4 tracks the sidestep left. She has the universal options like down back 2, down 3, and up back 1. The second hit of 1-2 tracks to the left, but the really important ones are back 2, and this is a really strong poke that I don't see enough people talking about. I think it's incredibly strong and incredibly underrated because it's +6 on hit, which means since your hell sweep is at 16 frames, it sets up for hell sweep mix-ups. And it has this extension that is -9 and launches on counter hit. It's -5 on blocked, but you can throw this out, and then you can throw out this second hit, and that will launch on counter hit. So this is a great poke to throw out in general, but there's another reason why it's really important for you to throw out too, and I'll get to that in a second. And then her down forward 4, which is an amazing poke, and something I see a lot is that she doesn't have any mids that track to sidestep left. People say, you want to sidestep left because that shuts down like this. That's a really good poke. Shuts down this. Shuts down like instant while running 1, stuff like that. But this is an actual long-range mid that tracks to sidestep and sidewalk left. I have had a couple of instances where maybe with very, very, very specific timing, or against characters that have a very good step, like Alisa and Lili, maybe you can sidewalk it left if you have very good timing, but for the most part, and against most characters, this is going to fully track to sidestep left on top of back 2. Quick interjection here. First, sorry that my microphone's so fucked up in this video. My settings were a little bit off when I recorded it, but I just don't want to re-record it. Second thing, I decided to do some testing on the characters and sidestepping this move just to make sure everything was consistent before I upload this, because don't want to look like a dumbass. And this is true for almost every character in the game, but then I looked at the queens of sidestepping, Alisa, Lili, and Zafina. And when I looked at these characters, Alisa can just sidestep back 1, and she can sidewalk down forward 4. She is the only character in the game that is able to just sidestep back 1 left. Every other character, including Lili, Zafina, they would need to sidewalk in order to get around it. She's the only one that can just sidestep it. But everyone needs to sidewalk down forward 4 if they want to get around that. When it comes to Lili, she, like I said, needs to sidewalk back 1, and she needs to sidewalk back 4, but she is able to avoid both of those moves. Same with Alisa. But strangely enough, Zafina actually cannot sidestep either of these moves at all. No matter what I tried doing, whether it was making sure I was preemptively sidewalking, sidestepping, sidewalking, whatever the case, I could not avoid these moves with sidewalk left with Zafina. So what that means is that Alisa is going to be a particularly very, very, very strong counter pick to Lidia, and I would say, and this is a little bit preemptive, but I would say probably Alisa is going to be her worst matchup. Lili is also going to be a really, really strong matchup against Lidia, because with Alisa and Lili, sidestepping really does become a big problem for Lidia. However, with Zafina, because she is not able to sidestep left either of these moves, it's not going to be as much of an issue. I haven't extensively tested what she can and can't sidestep after being hit, after being -4, -6, if she can sidestep things like down forward 2, or if she can sidestep house, stuff like that. But the point stands that since Alisa and Lili is able to avoid those pokes, it makes them very, very strong in the matchup. But for every other character in the game, from what I've tested, I tested female characters, I tested male characters, I tested big characters, I tested small characters. For every other character in the game, and I think Zafina not being able to sidestep them should be an indication by itself. This is going to be true for most characters in the game. The other important part about down forward 4 is that it has extensions. It has this mid extension, it has this high extension, which are natural on counter hit. So this is +4 on hit, -4 on block, and you're going to be looking out for these extensions as well, because, well, you don't want to get hit by these extensions, especially if you're at the wall, because that's going to wall splat. So both of these moves are very, very, very good pokes. But there's another aspect to this that's really important too that you have to keep in mind. Of course, if Lidia does something like down forward 2, normally you can just sidestep left, and you're good, and then you get to punish her. And that's great, right? That's great. Except for the side switch can be quite annoying. But anyway, yeah, you can sidestep that left, and you're good, right? Until she hits you with one of these pokes that track to the left. So, what ends up happening is that if your opponent is stepping left a lot, you have to pay attention to which direction they're stepping. Are they stepping left, are they stepping right? Because if they're stepping right, then these moves are going to whiff, and then you're going to want to start doing these moves to achieve pretty much the same thing. But if they're stepping left, then you throw out these moves as pokes, which again work just as well as pokes, and if these hit, well, then you're +6 and +4. So, here's what happens. Throughout this move, it hits. Now do down forward 2. Sorry, I'm not getting hit by it. God damn it. Anyway, you can try this for yourself. You can't step this. And what happens if you try swinging into this? Counter hit, because it comes out 15 frames and she's +6. So now you're in a situation where you have to deal with this. Oh, but you can still step this because it's linear, right? You can sidestep right. You can sidestep right. Okay? And before I get on to the next part, I just want to show you. Same thing with down forward 4 here. Even if she's +4. Same thing. Now, I believe you can sidewalk this right if you have really good timing. Or, again, you're playing a character with an exceptionally good sidestep and you get perfect timing. But most characters aren't going to be able to do it. So now you have to sidestep right to be able to avoid that. Now, here's the other conundrum. Remember those other moves I just talked about? Particularly, House Sweep and Sidestep 4? So, if your opponent decides, hey, I want to sidestep right. Or, alternatively, Yep. So, there's that. And then you say, okay, well, then I will just sidestep and duck, right? Sidestep and duck, and then life's going to be good. Except that's not going to work, because then if you start trying to sidestep and duck, that's going to hit you. Because you need very precise timing in order to be able to sidestep this move properly. And unless you have exquisite timing, it's not really going to work. And you can try this out for yourself. Maybe you have the godlike timing that is required to be able to avoid this properly. But at the end of the day, this is just not really going to work out in your favor if you want to try to sidestep and duck. So, essentially, when Lidia does one of these moves that tracks left, she's got you locked down. And now she can force her mix-up. So now you have to deal with, is she going to do a high? Is she going to do a low? Is she going to do a mid? You can't just get out of it with sidestepping. And even if you could, and even say, okay, well, you can sidestep this, here's the other problem with that. Remember the extensions I talked about before of these moves? What Lidia can do if she does this, and you decide, hey, I want to step, is now that's going to hit, and now she's still +4. Which is fantastic. What a lady can also do, even though these are both punishable, is if she does this move, she can finish it. And you're not sidestepping that. So now imagine what's going to happen here if she's at the wall. Yeah? Not very fun. It's not very fun if she's at the wall. Especially if she does this one, because it wall splats. So, again, if you're trying to sidestep here, she's going to hit you with that follow-up, even if it's not counter hit, because you have to step as soon as the move hits you if you want to get out of those mix-ups. So, what's the point here? The point here is that if Lidia hits you with this move or this move that track to sidestep left, all of a sudden the moves that you want to sidestep left, you cannot sidestep left. You can only sidestep them right. But then, if you start trying to sidestep right, then she's going to hit you with House Sweep, or she's going to hit you with Sidestep 4, or she's just going to finish the string. What's also really important here is that this works both ways. So, what happens is, if you do a move that's -4, -5, -6, and Lidia blocks it, and she's in your face, guess what? Sidestep left isn't going to work out for you anymore. Another thing I want to point out too, that's the gist of it. So you have to think of Lidia a bit differently when you're applying your offense and also when you're defending against her, because depending on the situation, you're going to want to throw out different moves. If they're sidestepping right, you're going to throw out different moves than if they're sidestepping left. Some moves are going to track right, some moves are going to track left. You have to determine how they're reacting to being plus or not, and then use different moves based on that. If you're +4, +6, and they're trying to sidestep right, then you hit them with House Sweep, or you hit them with Sidestep 4. If they're still trying to sidestep left, or they're really doing anything, then you can finish the string. You can do down forward 2. You can do hop kick 2. That's another one that I completely forgot to point out. But this move is also, if they again try doing the all-fabled sidestep left, is going to hit them and fucking murder them. Oh fucking, does it even track to, no it doesn't if you sidewalk. but again, requires a lot of precision, and, yeah, because it seems like sidestep right doesn't actually work. And again, if you're saying here side walking right, then you know what she can do. Sidestep forward and launch your ass. One last thing I want to point out, and this is going to require a jump cut, so bear with me. Alright, now that I've got set up, I want to talk about back 4, because a lot of people are saying that this is a trash, this is a terrible homing move. This is an awful homing move. It's bad because you have to take really high risk, because a lot of people are just looking at this as the full extension. Oh, if she blocks it, then she's launch punishable. Here's what people are forgetting. What people are forgetting is that on block, this is -3, which is insane, right? On hit, this is +6, which means on hit, because you're +6, they're not going to be able to step, and that sets up your mix-up. And if your opponent's back's to the wall, then that's pretty damn scary, especially if this hits. So because of that, I just want to ask you a question. Are you guarding against all of this? You guarding against this properly? You guarding against all of this properly? Are you blocking this? Are you blocking this stuff? Are you blocking all? Yeah, I just tried attacking that. It didn't work. Oh, there I got a launch. Oh yeah. That's working out now. Oh, okay. Well, she poked me. Oh, I got hit by the fall. Yeah. Did you block all that? Did you react to all that? Did you defend properly against that move on block? And then if it hits, you know, 21 damage, pretty respectable, +6, get to set up my whole mix-up. Right, if you start respecting it, then I can start doing this stuff. And if your back's to the wall, and if I decide to commit to it, that's 54 whole damage right there. So, even if you don't want to think about all of that other stuff I talked about, her back 4 is insanely good. It's just, people are saying it's bad because people are looking at it as the whole package. Oh, yeah, it does 54 damage, but it's insanely risky because she'll get launched. No, not if you use it correctly, it's not. So, I hope this is helpful for all of you future Lidia players out there, and I hope this did a good job of explaining why Lidia is not, in fact, that linear, and maybe it'll give you some ideas on how to play the character, because, again, I don't fault anyone for initially saying that she's weak to sidestep left, because for a normal Tekken character, yes, she is incredibly vulnerable to sidestep left, but I hope what I've showed you today helps illustrate why that's not necessarily the case, why she doesn't have that weakness if you play it correctly and you know how to play around that, because it is a weakness, but it's something that she can very easily play around, and if she starts playing around it, it's no longer really a weakness. And I can also tell as a personal antidote, using what I've showed you, I have come across quite a few plays, especially today on day 2, trying to sidestep against me, because that's what people have been saying. Oh, she's vulnerable to sidestep left. And using what I've showed you has been instrumental in making that weakness of hers virtually non-existent. So, anyway, hope that's helpful. Have fun with Lidia. She's kind of insane, but she's a great character, and I love her.